Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Service MVP podcast. And we definitely want to say hello to everybody. And we want to welcome one of my best friends, Trina Lozano from Air One Services right here in California. Trina, say hi.
Hello.
All right, everybody. So Trina's going to talk about, she has a family business here in Southern California. She has some special, a lot of challenges and things they had to overcome as a startup business, and they are one of our clients. And one of the clients that show a lot of heart and not quitting and having being determined to push through. Trina, why don't you start by sharing a little bit about Air One and how you guys got started, and what led you to this road here, if you don't mind.
Well, we started years ago, back in like 2000 and I believe 7. My husband had went through a trade school. We had very humbling beginnings. I mean, as young adults, we really struggled in life, and a mentor of my husband sent him for HVAC school to try and help him pretty much get on his feet and get things going in his life. And so he went to a local college and graduated, and then thought, man, once you graduate, then all of a sudden you're just going to get that job. So it was a little struggle for him to get in the field, but he did. And so with that, he worked as a technician, obviously installing and technician. And then along the way, we just said, hey, maybe we can do this on our own, really not knowing how much it took to have a business. So we struggled for many years, and to be honest, I wasn't the really one that wanted to grow the business that much. I was very involved in church, and it wasn't the main thing in life until I think I started getting on board, and me and Rocky just started working together. Then we've been growing now, but really took it very, very more serious probably within the last 4 years.
Well, good. Well, definitely, I see that you're on a mission to learn more and try to get the
Yes.
answers to a lot of different questions that are there.
Mhm.
So the idea is that obviously you grew this thing, and the idea with the family would be involved. You have your
Yes.
sons, Andrew and Richard,
Richard,
Richard
the third.
and the
Yeah.
third, and which Rocky is your husband, Rocky Lozano as well.
Yeah.
And so you have a lot of people involved from the family. Let's talk about some of the keys to running a family business, if you don't mind. If you could say, what were some of the challenges you had to create and that were created by taking this thing in when you jumped into it? Like you said, you weren't really going to be involved, and all of a sudden you did get involved.
Yes.
What are some of the keys to moving this thing forward, to pushing it toward a successful outcome? So your family can have a success, but also the business can have success
Right.
at the same time. Could you tell us what's the first thing you think would be important to other people who run a family business to know what you learned from your experience?
Well, I think number one, you have to find people with expertise to learn from. Sometimes we stand on the shoulders of giants, and so there is things that we need to reach out for help. I think sometimes, as entrepreneurs, you can be prideful and say, "Oh, I know it all," and we don't, and we're going to fail. And so it's really good to find a network, whatever organization that might be, of other contractors to help you, because no matter the size of the business, right? 100 million, 50 million, 10 million, 2 million, we're going to have the same kind of struggles, especially like in this economy that we're going through, and workforce and all. So it's really good to have that, because sometimes, I mean, not that we like that other people are struggling, but it does feel better to know we're not alone, and to be able to learn from each other on ways that we can grow and overcome that. With having a family business, you got to learn boundaries and whose place is what. One thing with me and my husband, Rocky, or if you want to know, his real name is Richard. He's Richard Jr., but his nickname
Mm-hmm.
is Rocky. And
Yeah.
so if you call us and you say Rocky, you'll get through. If you say Richard, you might leave a message.
Hey, but before we go on to the boundaries part, but let's talk about that kind of like that third party to get help from other people, to get
Yes.
third party oversight. I think a lot of times when you're working, I would say when you're in your family and you're in this business, sometimes when you're inside the bottle, you can't read the label. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that sometimes you can't see it clearly, and somebody from the outside can see things a little more clearly, or maybe just being in the presence of other people and seeing the ideas that they have kind of makes you take a step back and see things more. Could you expand a little bit on that part of it there? Because that seems like it's a key point there. Because sometimes when we're working in the family, we start making assumptions about like they should know
Yeah,
everything, right? But the truth
right.
is, I think sometimes that third party sees a perspective that we don't see. Can you comment on that a little bit more?
And you're saying, yeah, so it's really good to have like an outside perspective, I would say. Even with you, Joe, with my son Richard, he is the one that's sort of stepping into that role of management. And you had told me, hey, have Richard, he went through total immersion, have him come back and do the training with the guys. And that's what he did. I think sometimes as family, we can look at each other and it's easy because we can live with each other, we can work with each other, and then it's easy to see the weakness in somebody. So we
Yeah.
do sometimes that outside perspective can be a strength, but we have to realize that sometimes we're created with those around us. Sometimes their strengths help offset our weakness, and our weaknesses help offset their strengths. So, just learning to work together on that instead of, wanting to kill each other. Just fine.
Yeah, I think it's funny because, like, yeah, with the family, sometimes that's all we see is the weaknesses because we are
Yes.
so close to them, right? But
Mhm.
sometimes the outsiders can make us aware of sometimes the strengths that everybody has, and we
Yes.
focus. We got to make sure we get ourselves back to that. Okay, let's
Mhm.
go on to the boundaries issue now. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that. How can that? Obviously, if it's all the time work, 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 you don't have time for. Trina and Rocky and that relationship that can
Right.
also can wear and tear on things too. Tell us a little bit about the boundaries that you and Rocky have intentionally created there.
You know what? We don't take work home with us, especially if we're frustrated with something, whether it be with each other or something going on. We try not to talk about it too much at home. Sometimes we will talk about some things like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? But it's almost like we're separate people. Like, we just try not to take work to home. And then with the kids, sometimes we can be an outspoken family, and we don't hold back when we want to share something, but we have to all know, hey, when you come to work and you're going to work here, that we have to make sure that like everybody's roles, so that we don't overstep that or make other people feel uncomfortable. Have we failed in that way? Yes, we have. We're fallible people, but we really try and work on that to have a professionalism.
Yeah, it's like
We
it's one thing.
vacation a lot. We
Yeah, it's
vacation.
like one thing where you got the family at home and we're all laying around the couch or whatever, and then okay, go to work and we sit up straight, put our uniforms on.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like it's like a different role there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you got to make sure, and they got to make sure. Hey, when you're at work, there's a professional standard we're going to set. When you're
Mhm.
home, relax and enjoy your life, and because that's what you've earned the chance to relax and things like that,
Right.
right? But I think a
Exactly.
lot of times people don't. They kind of blend the two things together. They wear the uniform till they go to sleep from morning till night. And I think there's that kind of a symbolic thing where you just okay, I'm going to take like I always when I get home from my job, I'm like, I'm gonna take off this monkey suit and go wear something relaxing, take a walk by the beach or whatever I'm going to do, and
Mhm.
kind of get there. So that is important to maintain to maintain the relationship. Because truthfully, if we don't do that, the
Yeah.
outcome could be disastrous too at the end of it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. If you don't work on your marriage and make that a priority, then your marriage is going to fall apart and your business is going to fall apart. So you just have to have a priority of what's number one. So, there's been times like even with the kids, I I don't want to lose my kids or the relationship with my children over work, because everyone doesn't, take priority, even though it is a big priority. It's our source of income. And, we want to leave generational wealth to our kids and pass that on. But we have to realize relationships are number one.
Yeah, I mean, because we could we can have the stuff, but then service begins both on the job and at home, right?
Yes.
That we have to make sure we're
Mhm.
anticipating our family's needs and anticipating our clients' needs, and that's really what
Right.
if we all do that, I think we're gonna be in good shape. What else? What can you move on to? What else is another key? Do you have any other keys for us there, Trina, about what you and Rocky have gone through and some of the painful lessons that have turned into victories for you? What are some of the things that you have achieved that you learned? What lessons would you say you've learned that you can pass on to other people besides those two good things? But anything else we can talk about there?
Well, I think this year has been not, it's been a little rough, it did seem like for the first quarter and a little bit even into the spring, California had like no weather. It was like perfect outside. People seemed a little bit more reluctant to spend, and sometimes I will take on that mostly to myself, but I think it's just honestly having a good communication with everybody, and just keep going, because July was the best. Thank you, Service MVP is the best month that we've ever had. Sales were up like 35%, and just being all on board with each other. I think it's hard working with family, but then it's rewarding as well. You get to celebrate the wins together, you go through the low points together, you sort of encourage each other through that time. And so yeah, that's just what I would say. Just be transparent.
Yeah, it's like you can't lose that. Sometimes we share our love for each other when we're back at home. When we get to
Mhm.
work, we stop supporting
Yeah,
each other there too. That's an important factor there too, right?
right.
Especially when you're going through the tough times. I mean, because to me, that's where you really know if you got a friend or a family member who cares
Yeah.
or loves you, is the tough times and getting through those tough times. What kind of things did you guys do to get through some of those times to push it through to where you could get to a July where you're having a record month, and that's really good. It's like a
Mm.
sponge absorbing all that
Yeah,
revenue that's needed, right? You guys
right.
were ready
Yes.
for it, but now it's here. Tell us about some of the things that you would give advice about making sure that you can get through those tough times. What do you think?
I think training, when you see those weaknesses, like let's say you're looking at your KPIs and you see like a percentage down, and I'm sure to most contractors, this is just, they know, but if you see something, is this just a character flaw in somebody, or is it they need to train, and just making sure that where is it that weakness is where can we improve on this? So I think that that's the main factor. Because at one point, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I don't know what we're doing. We're going through a bad economy. We started a new training, and people, no weather, so all this going on. And you know what? It was my sons, Andrew and Richard. They went through total immersion, and they said, "No, Mom, we're sticking with this. We got to keep going. We got to keep going." And you know what? It really paid off. So
Yeah.
I think that that's what it is. Just to find, if you're not in Service MVP, sign up
Yeah.
because the training is amazing. It's just next level.
So if you're so if you are slower and you have some more time, let's use that because some people hang their head and say, "Oh, we've all done this, right? We're
Yeah,
like we go into a depression. It's like I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go home and eat some chips or what, watch
yeah,
TV. You put my head in the sand, and of course that's not going to get anywhere, right? And
no,
avoiding it. But what you're saying is that dig into okay, give yourself a chance to exhale. Go ahead and hang your head and cry if you need to, and then okay, get your head back in the game. Let's look at the statistics that are we need to look at in terms of the could be some hard things to look at. Sales number, conversion rate, drop calls. How many calls did we book? How many calls came in
mhm,
on the phone lines? How many did we book? And then take action to do training about it. Right, that's the thing
yes,
about it. And actually, that's one of the things I love about Air One is that you guys did, even when it was slow, you still took that time to invest in that time into training, and thank God, right now you're getting that return on the investment, right?
yes.
Uh, what does it feel like when you finally do break through and you see that part of it there, Trina? When the guys break through, could you describe a little bit about what they have expressed to you about when things finally did work and you see that the training paying off and you're seeing the results of what good training looks like, both from the workmanship. I know Rocky's no slouch when it comes to that too. He wants to get things done right in the
Yeah,
field, but he also wants to make sure we're communicating right now at this point
right.
too. But what does it look like when we break through? What does that feel like for the guys? Tell me, can you explain some of that?
Everybody's just excited and feels like pumped up, and it's not like everybody's giving each other attaboys. We have this like even a group text going on, and everyone's just, you can just tell like the atmosphere has totally changed. Like everybody's just pumped up, and from the install team to service to flipping the leads, and Andrew Andrew's crazy. He'll be like calls and go, boom, like when he sells something. So it's just like everyone's just like having a good time and on the same page. So yeah, I just think everybody feels like just really excited, and everyone's getting paid more, so that makes them all feel a lot better. So yeah.
What when the team does get the training and they pass the training and they
Mhm.
graduate and they go out and apply it, what changes do you see? Because you're kind of watching at this from a third party. You got these guys in the field doing all this stuff. You're kind of like in the back watching have a transformation in a way. What kind of changes have you seen in Rocky and his leadership abilities, or Andrew and Richard? Tell us about some of the changes you've witnessed as a result of completing the training and applying it. Just what do you see different about them now? They've always been great people, but what do you see different, or the transformation that you've seen in all three of those?
Just giving great service, making sure that they're giving the options and letting a customer know, this is what we can do, this is what we can try and do. And letting the customer make those choices. Everybody's saying, like, when you let the customer make the choice, it actually takes a lot off of yourself. And you're just educating them with their different options. And you know what? It's so exciting when a customer just says, themselves, like, well, how much is it for a new system? Would it be better for me just to replace it? Like, that's a great question. So I think that, and it's great. As a mom, I love to see my kids succeed. I think as a dad, Rocky does as well. So it's great to see that. But not just even that, even with our other team members, we have a new gentleman that came onto our team, and he is just killing it. And nobody's feeling like, oh, like he's doing better, or everybody's just on the same page and just excited for each other. So it made me feel really good about it. It wasn't hard to onboard. It is a lot to learn, right? But in onboarding somebody new that never was a part of Service MVP, and having them graduate and learn about giving options and talking with the customers and giving good service, like, that's something exciting, because it sort of takes that the guesswork about you just have it readily available for you in hiring new hires. So
this way you kind of got a place to start, as
exactly.
opposed to what do I do with the new hire.
Yes.
So it sounds to me like the sense of pride in
Mhm.
what they do, confidence. Would you say that has
Yes.
increased there too? Well, I tell you what, it couldn't happen to finer people than the Lozano family and all the people connected to Air One too, the new employees. I'm sure that when the family feels that kind of love for each other, the other employees can't help but feel the same thing. I'm pretty sure as well. What do you think
Yeah,
about that?
I think so. We're a pretty affectionate family, a Hispanic family. So we just people I don't know, we just invite people into our families. So
Yeah.
I think that makes everybody feel welcome, I hope.
Well, good. Well, I tell you what, all of us here at Service MVP have felt like we've been adopted into your family as well, Trina. So thank you for making us part of your life, and thank you for giving us your time today. We really appreciate this. Any
Yes.
closing thoughts you want to share with anybody before we leave? Just any final thought, or Trina Lozano's special tip you want to give us at the end here? You got
Just
something that
don't give
you
up.
can give
Keep
us?
going. Keep fighting. Know your reason why. Because it has been tough. They're saying it's going to get tougher. I don't know, but we can't change those circumstances. We do what we can to change things around us, and just remember what we're fighting for. We all have family and loved ones, and just keep going. Celebrate the wins and learn from the failures, and then just get up and trust in God and know that he'll make a way, and that's all I have to say. Just keep going.
Thank you, Trina, for being here, and definitely say hi to the rest of the family as well, and all the guys out there in the field. Tell Uncle Joe said hi, and we appreciate you being on today.
Thank you, Joe.